my bus, you can go straight onto a shuttle or explore town for a little bit. What else do I need to tell you? We are a large group this morning, so please try to observe our departure times. Now wait a minute, do we not have enough seats? Are you sitting with the wheelchair?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good.
Is there anybody here? Oh yeah,
There's
here's
one
a seat
here.
right here.
There's
Okay,
one here.
so there is another seat available for you.
Okay.
That's two.
Okay, yeah, I should have 2 empty seats. Plus, oh, and there was another one there. Okay.
Do you mind the window?
Oh, it's okay. Thank you.
The shuttle runs about 15 minutes, just like our drive into town.
Yeah.
So we've got one. Did I get everybody's ticket?
Yep.
Does everybody have a button?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, I start out confused. That's the way I usually end up anyway. Okay, all along the way, no problem with taking pictures. Flash is okay in the museum, in the cathedral. Well, that's just about it. So, I posted our times here. That's more to remind me than you. Okay. Let's roll.
Oh boy.
Sitka gets no snow at all.
Well, I often get asked at the various stops if you can leave things on board the bus because you sometimes bring with you more than you need at any given stop. And yes, that is just fine. I have been doing this for so many years. By now, I have everything I want.
Nie dosłyszałem cię wszyscy śmieli.
So, we are now heading into downtown.
Co tutaj kupił, to chyba tam
Along the way, I'm going to talk a little bit about our history. We, of course, start our history with the Tlingit people, the Indians that settled here. They've been here for several millennia. How do we know that? Well, in their oral tradition, their songs, their stories, they talk about settling here when there were no trees growing on this island. So that would have been right after the last ice age. Plants are coming back, but no trees yet. Also, their name for Mount Edgecombe, well, that's our dormant volcano 15 miles from here, their name translates blinker, which is a strange name for a dormant volcano. Well, they tell us that when they settled here, there was still volcanic activity on that island. Unfortunately, the clouds are too low, you can't see it at this point. The first Europeans to come here actually were the Russians. Now remember the Danish explorer Vitus Bering? He was a captain in the Russian Navy, and he was tasked by the Tsar to find the distance from Siberia to North America. So he left Petropavlovsk on the Kamchatka Peninsula in 1741 with 2 ships. About 10 days into the journey, they started running into bad weather. The ships lost sight of each other and they never met again. On the return journey, Vitus Bering ran aground on one of the islands in the Komandorski Island chain, and Bering died on that island, as did 28 of his crew. The other ship was under the command of Alexei Chirikov. Oh, look on that snag. There's an eagle sitting there. He'll be sitting there all day counting tour buses. So the other ship was under command of Alexei Chirikov, and Chirikov returned back to Russia in the fall, and he brought with him all the sketches, drawings, charts, and samples of some of the plants and animals that lived in this region. And of course, what everybody was hoping for was lots of fur. Well, the sea otter has a very soft, dense fur. It was so beautiful and so prized, it was even referred to as soft gold. So I like to say that that's actually our first gold rush. To give you an idea of how valuable once of those pelts was, a single pelt was equivalent to a full year's wages. So a number of trading companies were started. The best known one was the Shalikov Trading Company. Gregor and Natalie Shalikov went to Kodiak Island and they built a little Russian settlement there and then returned to the Siberian coastal town of Okhotsk to find a manager for their trading post. And this is where they came across Alexander Baranov. Baranov was a Russian merchant. By the way, our island is named after him. Now, Baranov had run into some difficult times. He had accumulated a lot of debt and had no job. And so he and Shalikov met, even though they could not stand one another, they agreed to work together. So in 1790, at the age of 43, Alexander Baranov left Siberia. A part of his assignment was to keep exploring southward and to find other places where he could build trading posts. And he came to our region for the first time in 1797, and he really liked it here. Not only is this a beautiful area, but lots of sea otters. And so he went back up to Kodiak and he prepared to come down here. 2 years later, in 1799, Baranov returned. The Indian village in those days was right where downtown Sitka is now. And Baranov came ashore. He negotiated with the Indians. However, they would not give him permission to settle here. This was their ancestral home. These were their resources, and he might as well move on. He was not welcome here. So Baranov moved on a few miles up the coast, just a little bit beyond where your ship is moored. He started building the first Russian settlement on this island, which he called Mikhailovsk, Fort St. Michael. When the Indians found out that the Russians were building, they rushed out there. They confronted the Russians and told them to pick up and move. Well, Baranov somehow managed to convince the chief that it was to the chief's advantage to have the Russians here. And so the chief reluctantly gave permission to continue building. Baranov stayed here through the winter. In the spring of 1800, he returned back to Kodiak, resumed his office there, and left his men down here to do the trading. Well, the Indians were not happy. And tensions were strained and getting worse. And finally, in 1802, the Indians had enough. They attacked the Russian fort. They overran it, they burned it to the ground, they killed most of the Russians and most of the Aleut slaves whom the Russians had with them. And that became known as the Sitka Massacre. When Baranov found out that he had lost his trading post, he said, well, they're not going to get rid of me that easily. We are going back. And 2 years later, in 1804, Alexander Baranov returned. And we're going to pick up our narration in a little bit. Right now, I want to point out that we are in the 21st century. There is a McDonald's. And then Here on our left is the back entrance to the emergency room of the hospital. No correlation there. Also, here on our right, you'll be able to see our old airport. We call it the float plane turnaround. Aircraft would land on the water, taxi up here, do their unloading, reloading, taxi back out and take off. As you see, we do have a traffic light, and this is not the only one. And this is our big shopping center. We've got 5 stores. In just a moment on our left, you will see Swan Lake. Now Swan Lake did not exist when the Russians came in. It was just a swampy meadow. But they dug it out, they dredged it out, they built a dam at the far end, and then they had some water power with which they could run their flour mill. And they also decided to divert several small streams into here so that they had sufficient water power then to run their sawmill as well. So this is Swan Lake. By the way, think about that for a moment. When the Russians were digging this out, they did not have backhoes. Oh yes, they had backs and they had holes, but nothing mechanical. On our right, Sitka Volunteer Fire Department, we have 8 paid staff and lots of volunteers scattered through the town. And we are now coming up on our second traffic light. And with this you'll have seen all of our traffic lights. This is Lincoln Street. This is our main street in town, the business district, the shopping district. That's 4 blocks to the right. And the cathedral is right in the middle there. And here on your left is where you catch the shuttle buses.
Które jadą do portu.
Parking is always the biggest problem here for our buses, but looks like we found ourselves a parking spot.
Na razie tyle, bye bye.